Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ben. Thank you so much for checking out my channel once again. I hope that you hit the subscribe button down below and follow all the content that I put out about starting a recruiting agency, and I hope everything that I'm saying helps you out a little bit. If it does or doesn't, put it in the comments and tell me what you want me to talk about, from my history starting a recruiting agency so that I can help you. Today we're going to be talking about good clients versus bad clients. So what is a good client and what is a bad client? So a good client is a client that doesn't utilize a lot of staffing agencies. They don't use inside recruiting, they don't use outside recruiting, they haven't before, or they've done it very minimally. They also have a very high demand for employees. So they may have 10 or 15 open positions that they want to fill. That's a lot of money for you to make. That's a really good client. Another reason a client would be very good is if they're kind and amicable in the agreement process. So before you set up, any staffing with a client, you're always setting up an agreement, a signed agreement, and I'll go over this in a different video about how you're going to do business and what the terms are, what the percentage is, and all of that jazz. So when they're amicable in that whole process, that means they're going to be a really good client because they're not going to give you pushback, and anything that they do want to talk about, they'll put it out and they'll come out up front and talk about it right then and there. What's a bad client? So a bad client is going to be someone who has used staffing agencies over and over and over again. Like they've used 3 or 4 different staffing agencies before over time. This means that they don't have good relationships with staffing agencies and they're very fickle. So maybe they've swapped between Aerotech, maybe they've used like a Labor Works, a bunch of different tiny agencies or tiny little recruiters, and they obviously haven't meshed with any of them, otherwise they would still be doing business with them. So that means they're a bad client. It means that they don't mesh with people well, and they probably haven't agreed on terms well, or the recruiting firms haven't wanted to work with them again, or vice versa. Another reason someone could be a bad client is that they pay too low. So if your percentage fee is 15% of their annual earnings and they want to take you down automatically to like 8% or something, automatically that's a super bad client. They're going to try to rip you off on every angle. So they might even try to gyp you on like your guarantee. If you give a 30-day guarantee on your client for the candidate that you place, they might want to like fire the person on day 29 and have you replace them for whatever reason. Some people you just can't trust, and you need to really feel things out before you move forward. So another reason a client could be bad is that they simply have a bad attitude, and you find out when you talk to them from the start, from the get-go. If you're negotiating and chatting a little bit about what the position is like, and they are giving you a bunch of feedback and pushback about like, oh, we've had terrible people in this role previously, and no one can find us a good person, and blah, 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 blah. Probably a bad client. Just a bad attitude in general usually equals a bad client. So it's probably someone you don't want to mess with. And the reason that you want to always chase a better client versus a bad client is because the bad clients are simply going to take your time away from good clients. And even if you don't have better clients at the time, it's taking your time away from finding good clients. So the time that you spend finding a good client could be worth $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in future fees versus working with a really bad client that's paying you like 15 grand to spend all your time and energy working with them. It just doesn't add up if you do the math. I've walked away from a deal that could be worth about $20,000 for a construction company that was on the other side of the state. The reason I did that is because it wasn't exactly my space. It wasn't particularly where I recruit, and I definitely didn't have a network, 700 miles from here. So with that being said, $20,000 trying to work on those roles when I have, like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in good clients and other roles that I can work on locally, like really close to me, was a way better option for me. So I chose to stick with good clients versus what I would consider to be a bad client. So you really need to feel this out, and this is where you have to just use your entrepreneurship, savvy. So you have to really read someone, you have to feel them out, you have to test them on different levels. If someone's not responding to you on email or phone calls for days and stuff like that, probably a bad sign. You know, if they don't want to talk to you enough about the process or the agreement or clients that you send them, it's probably not a great client. So I would consider this, you know, someone told me it's really similar to dating. You don't want to date someone 50%. You want to date them 100%, right? So if you chose a partner, you're going to want to be like connected with that person 100%. You don't want to be connected with them 50%. It's just like a client. You don't want to deal with them 50%. You want to deal with them 100%, meaning time, energy, and all of that. Because at the end of the day, it means money for you. So just as you would in a relationship, you'd invest 100% of your time. As you would with your clients and your agency, you'd want to invest 100% of your time. So chase the good clients, get rid of the bad clients. They're only going to waste your time. That's my news for Wednesday. I hope you're crushing it. I'll check you guys out on Thursday with another video. So take care and have a good night.